In today's Meta Monday episode, I cover another deck that has only a few additions from BT11, and that is Examon. Examon has a lot of crazy potential that can make it an uphill battle after just 3 turns. Blocker, evade, force you to attack, let's go! Per the usual, I'll be covering the card by card, the strategy behind the deck, the matchups, and of course, the combos. If you enjoy these types of videos, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell for more future content. Nationals is less than 2 months away, and with the possibility of it being BT11, testing has become one of the main goals of this channel for the time being. EX3 is very well established at this point that should there be delays, you know what you'll probably be playing. This deck can be revised to an EX3 variant, but without any further delays, let's get into the card by card. This deck runs 4 level 2s, 11 level 3s, 11 level 4s, 8 level 5s, 8 level 6s, 5 level 7s, 3 option cards, and 4 tamers. For level 2s, this deck only runs 4 EX3 Babydomon. At first, I had considered running a 5th Babydomon using the one from BT10. However, in playtesting, the 5th egg just isn't needed. That 1000 DP from EX3 Babydomon can be the make or break between being able to block without having to use the evade mechanic. No other substitutes, otherwise your Dracomons can be 1-cost evolutions. When it comes to level 3s, this deck runs purely Dracomons, 4 of the new BT11 Dracomon which can digivolve from any Babydomon from 0. I'm guessing at some point we're getting a red-blue Examon and they wanted to provide some coverage for that baby, if it ever comes up. But on your turn, once per turn, when you play a Digimon with Dramon in its name or Blue Flare, not important, draw 1. Inheritable wise, when you play a Digimon with Dramon or Blue Flare, again, not important, gain 1 memory. In fun moments, you could even slam down a Cordramon with a memory fixer for 5, and draw 2. 3 starter deck Dracomon for a search for a Dramon Digimon, and 4 copies of EX3 Dracomon which can do the same thing, but also add Examon as a possible second hit. Inheritable wise, you can get plus 1000 DP on all turns when a Digimon with Dramon or Examon becomes suspended. Only other alternatives I've considered is Sayakomon for the upcoming BT11 format, mainly because this Digimon can prevent your opponent from reducing their EVO costs, hitting cards like Greymon X, starter deck Gatomon, and even Okuamon X. However, such a substitution would make your level 4 climbs a little bit more inefficient, and that's where you have to ask yourself as a player, is that sacrifice in Digivolution cost for you worth it? For level 4s, this deck runs 3 EX3 Blue Cordramon for evade and Inheritable evade, 4 starter deck Cordramon for security play and card draw, and 4 green Cordramon from EX3 for the blocker and blocker inheritable. Security Cordramons in combination with a memory fixer can be huge, considering 2 Cordramons can yield you a 4-card dig, a Digivolution into Wing Dramon or Ground Dramon, and then Evo into the other one at end of turn to DNA into Examon. EX3 Cordramons are an absolute must. Can you imagine double protection on Examon? Attempt to delete, suspend, unsuspend with its all turns effect to evade, and do it again if your opponent tries to delete it. That's some heavy protection. Level 5 wise, Ground Dramon and Wing Dramon have identical inheritables and main effects like the respective color Cordramons. However, one extra effect for both of these Digimon. Your turn, Examon treats both these Digimon as level 6 during DNA Digivolution. In addition, end of turn you can DNA Digivolve. Super helpful considering you can bypass the level 6 altogether and just slam down the other level 5 to immediately DNA Digivolve into Examon. Level 6 wise, you run 4 each of the Slayer Dramon and Break Dramon. Slayer Dramon is your main big bad when it comes to playing against all decks. Start of your opponent's main phase, suspend one of your Digimon with Dramon including this Digimon and Examon to force one of your opponent's Digimon to attack. This cuts your opponent off from digivolving or even placing the X antibody underneath it before they swing. In most scenarios, this forces your opponent to stay in the raise unless they can somehow put up a sacrificial body to go into security. With Break Dramon, this Digimon is more of a counterplay to security control decks. Hopefully you can suspend your opponent's Digimon and beat over them, trashing their security instead. There's really nothing here you can substitute with as you need all of these cards for the deck to work, although you could reduce Break Dramons to add more option cards or any other card you want. Which takes us to level 7s in the form of 4 Examon, and 1 Death Examon. Yes, we know what Death Examon does. We know it can be played for a reduced cost and de-Digivolve all your opponent's Digimon and delete all level 4 and lower Digimon. And yes, it nukes the lowest play cost every turn. But this Digimon is really for your opponent who plays wide boards. Examon is the real value here. When Digivolving, you can place a green or blue Digimon with Dramon in its name under this Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card. But if you DNA Digivolve, you can play a Digimon with 12,000 DP or less from under it. Remember Slayer Dramon? You can now use its start of turn effect to force your opponent to attack. Then Examon can block, if you have blocker under it, unsuspend, and suspend one of your opponent's other Digimon. If you set up Examon quick enough, you can start chipping away at your opponent's security while setting up the ultimate defense. Multiple Examons are even more aggravating. Option card wise, this deck only runs 3, 2 Megadeth and 1 Samadhi Santi. Megadeth comes in clutch for your removal against your big stack opponents. While not potentially effective against Black War Greymon X and BT11, Examon can have the potential DP that can match even Black War Greymon X. Samadhi Santi, on the other hand, has much utility. In regard to what you suspend, it could be that Mirai to prevent your opponent from free playing that Lady Devimon or Angelomon for that Mastamon Digivolve. Black War Greymon X, you can't give the buff or protection from option cards. There are a wide variety of options you could run, including Ice Wall, but there's a balance for security bombs and disrupting your opponent's strategy. Memory boosts can also be viable, although you will have a split between blue and green cards. Which is where the best tamers come into play. Davis Motomiya and Mimi Tachikawa, the best tamers of the Digimon trading card game. Both tamers memory fix, but in terms of effects, each has a different utility. Davis can search the top 3 cards for a green and blue Digimon. This dual search for 2 pieces can really speed up your combo. Mimi, on the other hand, if you've got the conditions set up just right, you could potentially put up another body with Mimi's effect and DNA Digivolve into Examon that same turn. Combo wise, your strategy is to find your pieces, whether you use Davis or EX3 Dracomon. Security hits in Cordramon can be highly rewarding as mentioned before, as Davis and 2 Cordramons can yield you enough bodies and memory to go into both Winged Dramon and Ground Dramon to end of turn DNA into Examon, and put your opponent to cleanly 3 memory. Matchup wise, this deck has been playtested with extensively in the Black War Greymon X match, Grandest Kuwagamon, Mastamon, and Melga X. In the matchup against Black War Greymon X, if you can set up Examon before they can set up Black War Greymon X, you've got a great shot at winning the game. However, do note that if they do set up first, evade is your best friend when you want to avoid destruction. In the Grandest matchup, this matchup is honestly one of the easier matchups, considering if your opponent goes into any of their plays that suspends your Digimon. If it's Examon they suspend, a lot of effects are mandatory triggers, including Grandest Kuwagamon himself. Mastamon provided a lot of threat because of the fact that Chaos Degradation cannot be avoided with even evade. As a result, this is one particular matchup where you want to end it quickly and hope they never get both color sources out. Mirai alone makes me sweat every time I see it. And finally, Melga X has the speed to take games, but its fallback plan is lacking. With Samadhi Santi as a potential security bomb, even forcing your opponent to stay suspended may be advantageous. One thing to note that this deck underperformed in Japan because of the rampant appearance of Crossheart. This deck has not been playtested against Crossheart yet, so there is no data to really provide a projection. With Cross 3 making an appearance in BT11, Crossheart changes just a little bit. But is it enough to slim down the power gap that it lost with losing Cross 4 and Sunrise Buster to 1? In general, Examon is an amazing deck that I would not be surprised to see be another popular pick against Black War Greymon X. Absolutely no removal takes out Examon from a Black War Greymon X deck, not even Hades Force. In attempting to run over it, you'll either match DP, or you'll simply evade to prevent destruction. What are your thoughts on Examon as a deck? Let me know your thoughts as I look into more potential decks heading into BT11. This is Digi-Panda, logging out.